Alright, so here are my gear that I was wearing for Cannonball. And I also have a rain cover, rain layer as well. And these ones have insulation, but I actually took the insulation out for this video. But yeah, so this is what I wore. Let's look at let's start at the helmet. The helmet is a Built-Well Gringo. Right, this is the old one. This is the old dot one. This is not the ECE or CE, whatever they call it. I think it's called ECE standard. So this is the old dot standard from. I bought this helmet, geez, maybe about 5 years ago. I don't even remember exactly now. But anyways, older helmet. And there's my the damage from the crash. On a I was going just under 60. Somewhere between 55 and 60, crashing a dirt gravel road. So this is this right here was where I hit the gravel when I tumbled. So this helmet's being retired, right? No more helmet here. That's being retired. Here I have my insulated gloves. I was not wearing these when I crashed. I actually was wearing these ones when I crashed. These are my racer gloves. And both of these gloves, both the insulated and the non-insulated one, I've had for, I think I had since 05, maybe 04, 04, 05, somewhere in that range. So I've had it for well over 15 years, 16, maybe even 17 years. And both of these were worn out pretty much when I started Cannonball, for example, right here. This was already like this when I started. So I'm gonna retire these gloves. That was the plan, to retire these gloves. These gloves actually never quite fit me. The fingers were a little bit too short, so I would feel all this pressure at my fingers, and at the end of the day, especially a long day, my hand would actually go numb because of that. These are also racer gloves as well. And racers are my favorite glove brand. They're really high quality, and they fit really well. Oh, excuse me. They fit really well. So yeah, so these ones were Gore-Tex, and you can see the Gore-Tex membrane right here. So that's the waterproof membrane, and this one's all shot to shit, and this one's all worn out too. So, and this one's been worn out for a while. It's lost its waterproofness, like probably within the first 5 years. Just, probably 3 or 4 years it lost its waterproofness. And it's lost its insulation, or most of its insulation. It used to be warmer, but now it's not as warm. I probably lost that about 5 years or so into it, but I still kept it, and because it still fit and still worked and it wasn't ripped up. So, but it is now. So anyways, that's done. Let's look at my top. So so when I crashed, I landed on my left side. So let's look at the left side here. Here's the left side elbow. And again, it was on dirt gravel, and you see a little bit of abrasion right here on the material, but there's nothing ripped. Elbow, and I also landed on my shoulder as well, or the back of my shoulder, and you see a little bit of abrasion right here, but nothing's ripped. The stitching is still there, stitching still here. The back looks okay. And I rode like a half a dozen times. I lost count after 3 rows. This side, you see a little bit of abrasion as well from the row. But everything's intact. The stitching is still all intact, sturdy. So I'm gonna take the pressure washer to this thing and hose it down. So it held up really well. So I like Revit. Revit makes really high quality gear, compared to like some of the other brands, like geez, what are some of the other brands? Like Revit is from the Netherlands, so they're based out of the Netherlands, and most of the European brands, the products are a little bit more premium than like the Japanese brand or the Taiwanese brand or Chinese brands. Those ones are not as premium. So let's look at this. Here's the left side. Also land on my hip. The bad thing about this thing is that it doesn't really, well, actually it does have a hip pad. I didn't even realize I had a hip pad. There's a hip pad right here. I didn't even realize I had a hip pad, but boy, this thing, I didn't even notice it there. So I did land on my hip, and my hip's a little sore and bruised, and I also landed on my butt, my left buttocks. Here's the abrasion but everything's still intact, nothing's ripped. The stitching sounds good, still good. So there's a big bruise on my left butt cheek. My hips doesn't have a bruise, but it feels bruised. Here's the knee, a little bit of. No, actually, I didn't hit the knee. I was rolling on my knees though. I think that's it for the pants. Yeah, nothing else on the pants. The pants does have a little hole right here. This is from the exhaust pipe. That's normal. This happens quite often on riding pants. Always touching the exhaust pipe and they melt. So yeah, so overall my gear held up really well. So yeah, I'm a fan of Revit. The next outfit I'm gonna buy is gonna be Revit. Again, you know, I like the quality. It fits me really well. Works really well, and this one ventilates pretty well too. So everything's good. So basically, I'm just gonna get rid of I'm gonna toss the helmet and the two gloves. The face shield, I probably will toss too. The face shield I was wearing was the smoke shield, and that one actually, it didn't actually get scratched up. Well, actually the top edge of it got scratched up from the crash, but the rest of the face shield actually didn't. But the two shields I have, the clear one and the smoke one, they just scratched up from wear. You know, I've had them. You know, I had this helmet for probably about 5 or so years, and I actually only started using it probably for about 3 years now, maybe 4 years, 3 or 4 years. I think 3 years. And my helmets usually last only 2 years, but this one lasted longer because there's nothing to it. You know, there's no moving parts. It just is. So it actually lasted me longer than all the other helmets I've ever had. All the other helmets, doesn't matter what brand it had, they always just lasted me 2 years. I average about 15,000 miles a year, so basically 30,000 miles. They last me about 30,000 miles, and they're done. You know, after 2 years, those helmets they're literally falling apart. And this windscreen usually lasts me 1 year. So basically, the first year everything's new. Then at the end of the first year, I change the windscreen. Then the end of the second year, the whole thing goes. This one, I don't recall changing the windscreen at all. I just kept on using them. They just all scratched up now. So when you look through them, you know, they're not as clear as they used to be compared to a new one. A new one, it's very clear. All my windscreen is really scratched up. So yeah, so I actually have another one of these. You know, different paint scheme, but same model. And also, so this is the Gringo. I also have 2 versions of this. I have the exact same one like this, but different color. And the other one I have is a Gringo S, which is the visor flips up and down. I actually don't like that one as much. I prefer the snap button snaps. I think that's better for me. So anyways, yeah, so that's my gear. Everything held up really well. Obviously I'm not hurt, you know, I'm bruised up and sore, and my rib hurts. So you know, this thing has no there's no chest protection, so there was nothing for my ribs to cushion my ribs. So I'm not sure what my ribs hit. I'm not sure if it hit the ground or hit the bike or what, but it hit something, man. So my ribs are still sore. That's probably the most painful part is my ribs. Last night was the first night I was able to sleep on my left side. That's the side that had the initial impact. Prior to that, you know, the left side was just in too much pain to sleep on. When I was sleeping, each time I rolled to my left side, it would wake me up because it was that painful. You know, I mean, you're asleep and you wake up because of pain. That tells you that it's significant enough. So yeah, anyways, that's my gear, and it all held up pretty well. Thanks for watching.